A warm welcome to you all this evening. My name is Ingrid Scheffer. I'm President of the Australian Academy of Health and Medical Sciences. I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the many lands upon which we meet, acknowledging that individuals are joining us from around Australia, and I'm on the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people were the nation's first scientists, and they remain the spiritual and cultural custodians of their land. We pay our respects to elders past and present. I'm delighted to welcome you to the Australian Academy of Health and Medical Sciences New Fellows Award celebration. We are the nation's learned academy for the health and medical sciences, and we are an impartial, authoritative, cross-sector voice of health and medical science in Australia, an independent, interdisciplinary body of now some 454 fellows as of tonight. These individuals are elected by their peers for their outstanding achievements and exceptional contributions to health and medical science in Australia. Collectively, we represent an independent voice through which we engage with the community, industry, and governments. The Academy is uniquely positioned to convene cross-sector stakeholders from across Australia to address the most pressing health challenges facing society. And our goal is to advance Australian health and medical research and its translation into benefits for all. Now, unfortunately, this is the second year we are unable to gather in person for a gala event to celebrate and welcome our new fellows. Such a momentous occasion deserves recognition, so this evening we are pleased to present our new fellows online and hopefully welcome them in person next year. This means we can share their achievements with even more people, and we hope you get a sense of some of the fascinating work that they have been engaged in, and you will be able to see why they have been elected as Fellows of the Academy. This evening, we will present 4 videos highlighting groups of new Fellows, and we encourage you to join in with some congratulatory messages in the chat as the new Fellows appear on screen. Fellowship is granted in recognition of a significant and sustained contribution to health and medical research, demonstrating leadership on both the Australian and international stage. The breadth and depth of talent among the new fellows we elect each year is testimony to the outstanding contributions that Australian scientists and health professionals continue to make to global efforts to prevent and manage human disease and to improve the health of the community. As a fellowship, we aim to inspire and mentor the next generation of researchers, providing high quality expert advice to government and contribute knowledge to inform discussions on health and on health policy. I'm delighted to congratulate each one of our new fellows and trust they will play an active role in the affairs of the Academy and help the Academy to achieve these important goals. Tonight, we have 28 new ordinary fellows and 1 corresponding fellow who are being elected. The Academy has always worked to support gender equity and to champion diversity. It is excellent to see that this year we have elected our largest ever proportion of women, with 68% of the new fellows being women. You may notice we're going to announce the fellows this year in reverse alphabetical order, providing an opportunity for those towards the end of the alphabet to be highlighted first. I'm now delighted to present to you our new fellows. Please join me in welcoming our first 7 new fellows. I'm delighted to introduce our new fellows, Professor Ingrid Winship, Professor Andrew Whitehouse, Professor Penny Webb, Professor Kanta Subarao, Professor Sir John Saville, Professor Danny Rishin, and Professor Tian Wong. Please join me in congratulating the new fellows. I would like to now ask Professor Tian Wong, our new corresponding fellow, to say a few words about his achievement. He is our fourth corresponding fellow to date, and corresponding fellows are non-Australian residents who, while residing overseas, have made a significant contribution to Australian health and medical policy, practice or research. Professor Wong is based in Singapore and was unable to join us this evening, but we were able to speak with him earlier. We discussed his thoughts as a fellow looking in from outside Australia and yet familiar with our nation's expertise and challenges during COVID-19, and asked, where do you think our Academy should focus its efforts?
Thank you very much for this exceptional honor and privilege to join a highly distinguished group of colleagues at the Australian Academy of Health and Medical Sciences. COVID-19 continues to have a major impact on our communities, both in Australia, of course, and in Singapore. We have suffered greatly in hospitalizations and in deaths and in lockdowns and economic fallouts. And the longer-term impact of COVID-19 is not yet known. I would like to share some thoughts from my friends and colleagues in Australia, and really from an overseas vantage point, following closely the developments of COVID-19 in Australia and the efforts of colleagues in Australia. First, from a very public health perspective, I would like to say that Australia and Australians should be proud that they have done exceedingly well in protecting lives with one of the lowest infection and mortality rates in the world. Australians has, by and large, embraced vaccinations, and you will emerge to be one of the world's most highly vaccinated population. With the planned reopening, Australia will thus become one of the few countries globally which will emerge from the pandemic having avoided a high price in human lives that many other countries could not avoid. And I think Australia and the Academy should be very proud of this achievement. Second, COVID-19 has shown to the public the importance of an adequately resourced public healthcare system in Australia, and that health is critical to a society's being. We all come to a standstill without good health. Finally, COVID-19 has provided a unique opportunity to support the question of why do we invest in research? Why do we do research? I think the public is much more acutely aware that the development of vaccines, tests, various treatment options stems from a strong foundation in biomedical, clinical, and public health research. Without these, there will be no solution to the pandemic. I hope this leads to a better appreciation of the importance of science, medical research, and the role of physician scientists in the Australian community. It is a position I will encourage the Academy to continue to support and argue for. We will all emerge stronger and more resilient from this pandemic. Once again, I'd like to thank you for this exceptional honor and privilege to join my colleagues in the Academy. I hope to obviously see you soon in person by next year. Thank you very much once again.
Professor Wong, it is an honour to welcome you as a corresponding fellow in recognition of your substantial contribution to the Australian health and medical research landscape. Now I'd like to introduce our next 7 new fellows. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our new fellows, Professor George Patton, Professor Alicia Oshlak, Professor Jodie McVernon, Professor Colette McKay, Professor Helen Marshall, recently named South Australian of the Year, Professor Louise Maple Brown, and Professor Richard Price. Please join me in congratulating these new fellows. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. I would now like to welcome Professor Louise Maple Brown to chat for a moment. Now, this isn't Louise's first experience with the Academy. We were fortunate to have her join us as an associate member through our flagship mentorship program some years ago. And Louise is actually our second mentee now to become a fellow. Louise, does your experience as an associate member of the Academy inspire any goals for you as a fellow? And what issues should we have at top of mind as an Academy?
Thank you, Ingrid. And yes, absolutely. My experience as a mentee was a fantastic opportunity, and I really enjoyed it and valued it. And it's inspired me really to give back. My passion is supporting the next generation of clinician researchers, and particularly supporting those in regional and remote Australia, as well as Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as clinician researchers. So that's really my passion, and that's what I look forward to contributing to the Academy. And I think the Academy's got a great program in the Life as a Clinician Scientist program is excellent, and we could perhaps have an event around regional and remote Australia and encouraging the next generation of clinician scientists in our parts of Australia. And ultimately, I'd love to give back as a mentor to the program that I was a mentee of myself. And I think in the broader context, when you ask about goals for the Academy, again, really to me, it comes back to supporting career pathways for early career researchers and funding opportunity for early career researchers, and such an important part of our future. And that's really important, I think, for the Academy, as well as to contribute to improve our representation of our community, and particularly important to focus on improving fellows as Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as fellows at the Academy as well. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks, Louise. I think incredibly important issues you raise, and very close to my heart. And I think to have a Life as a Clinician Scientist program up in the Northern Territory would be fantastic. And really to try and grow the next generation of leaders in all these disparate fields would be really, really great. So thank you, and congratulations on becoming a fellow. That's wonderful. All right, I'd like to now move on to our next 7 new fellows. I'm delighted to introduce our next 7 new fellows: Professor Karen Leder, Professor Christine Jenkins, Professor David Ching-Siang Huang, Professor Kirsten Howard, Professor Harriet Hiscock, Professor Rana Hinman, and Professor Rebecca Guy. Please join me in congratulating our new fellows. Thank you all so much for being with us tonight. I'd now like to welcome Professor David Huang to talk for a moment. Professor Huang's research, in collaboration with industry partners, has contributed to highly effective anti-cancer drugs such as venetoclax. Professor Huang, what advice would you give young researchers on how best to engage with industry?
Thank you very much for the question, Ingrid. I suppose all of us as basic researchers or clinician researchers really dream of being able to translate our findings, and working with industry and commercial partners is absolutely essential to achieve that goals. I think there are a few elements to be able to connect with them in a productive way. One often starts with a good story, whether it's from basic research or clinical story, and that's your hook that you require to engage people in industry. I suppose the other thing I would always advise people are to engage the people from a clinical or research background within those organizations, because they can often act as champions for your projects. So you don't necessarily need to just focus on talking with the commercial or the business development people. I think the only last advice I'll give is that these often long-term relationships, and it's something, if you find that you've got a good connection with somebody within sometimes very big organizations, that's something that needs to be nurtured over long term in order for that to be built upon so that it can become successful. I think those are some of the thoughts that I've had, thinking about how to engage industry.
Very wise words. And I think the issue about a long journey to get to the end point, and you've got to hang in there and figure out how to do it, is really important. And the importance of collaboration across industry and clinical and basic science. And you really exemplify all of that beautifully. So thanks so much, and warmest congratulations, David.
Thank you very much, Ingrid. Thank you.
Thanks. And now our final group of new fellows, I'm delighted to introduce them with the following video. It's a great honour to introduce our final group of new fellows. Professor Ron Grunstein, Professor Jonathan Gollidge, Professor Pat Dudgeon, Professor Jodie Dodd, Professor Suzanne Corey, Professor Julie Bynes, Professor Karen Anstey, and Professor Jerry Adams. Please join me in congratulating our new fellows. Now I'd like to invite Professor Pat Dudgeon for a brief conversation. We're delighted to have Professor Dudgeon join the Academy and look forward to her valuable input. Professor Dudgeon, how or where do you think the Academy should focus its efforts over the next few years?
Thank you, Ingrid. Look, like other new fellows, I'm absolutely privileged and honoured to have become a fellow and join the fellowship. And I am aware that there are other Indigenous fellows, so I was really gratified when I saw that. And I look forward to seeing more Indigenous fellows join the Academy. I think that the Academy is important. I think that we need to encourage, we need to nurture and promote a medical and health think tank that appreciates and encourages our development. I think that probably that's missing in some sectors. I think we need to celebrate our outstanding researchers, but our diversity as well. My approach is a population health approach, and it's very much concerned with cultural issues, with self-determination and about Indigenous governance. So by recognising me, I feel that my research has been recognised, and that affirms what I'm doing and the benefits that will come to my communities through my research work. So I think that I would like to encourage and see us celebrate that diversity, different approaches in research, but also the diversity of our people who make up the fellows. So all good.
Pat, they're wonderful points, and I think the Academy wholly supports you in your work, and we would love to grow the next generation of leaders in Indigenous research and diverse areas of research. So fantastic points. Congratulations and a warm welcome to the Academy. I'd like to now thank all our new fellows for joining us this evening for a rather short but hopefully important ceremony. We look forward to working with you, and we look forward to your incredible contributions to the Academy, and we hope to see you in person next year at the Academy meeting. Thank you also to you, the audience, for watching our online New Fellows ceremony. The first day of the Academy's annual meeting is tomorrow at 11 a.m. Daylight Savings Time. We have an amazing lineup of national and international speakers, including Tony Fauci, and we're going to discuss the impact of research. If you haven't registered already, please register via our website. Many of the issues we've even discussed tonight will be canvassed. So I wish you all a lovely evening, and I hope that our new fellows have an opportunity to celebrate. Thank you very much and good night.